Hello everybody, it's Sean from Seanitors Hockey here, back with another video, and it's my first monthly review video. So yeah, I'm going to try and do these not every month, let's be honest, but I'm going to try and do them as and when I can. And the Senators coming off February, there was only 7 games obviously with the 4 nations, and what a tournament that was, so enjoyable. Some absolutely amazing hockey and some proper nail-biting moments there, which will live long in the memory of both Canadians and American fans. But also, what a run the Finnish team went on. Some absolutely amazing hockey that was played. Also, I love the fact you could watch it all on YouTube. So being in the UK here, it wasn't any sort of blackouts or anything. So it was absolutely perfect for me personally. Personally, I wanted the Canadians to win. So yeah, I was very happy with the outcome. And also I'm loving the Connor McDavid, McDonald substitutes throughout the whole of Canada. I'm loving that. That's really even hitting the news over here in the UK. McDavid restaurants replacing McDonald's. So yeah, so I'm not going to make these videos too long, just basically to go through the month that was, and the month that was February 2025. So the Sens rolled into this on a 3-game win streak, and their first game was against Minnesota. Minnesota were without Kirill Kaprizov, easy for me to say there, just had to have a jump cut. Yeah, they came into this game against the Wild, and to be fair, put on an absolute masterclass against them, absolutely battering them 6-0. What was also great in that game is that we shared the wealth with the goals and the points. We had 6 different scorers on the night and a haul of points for a lot of players involved, and we'll touch on the points towards the end of the video. Also marked the end of Levi Merilainen's stint in goal for the Sens, and what a find he has been. Yeah, Anton Forsberg would take over for the next game against the Predators. Yeah, Levi Merilainen looks the business. I know it's very easy to get carried away with a short sample size, but he looked very comfortable at stepping up. So I'm really excited to see what happens, and also being able to shed possibly the Forsberg salary with 2.75 mil coming off the books moving forward is brilliant, as it frees up a few more things. And obviously, you know, we've got to sign a few players moving forward anyway, young players, so that money will be absorbed there. But yeah, really excited about Levi Merilainen. He looked totally comfortable in net for the Sens. And yeah, so Minnesota was the first game with a 6-0 win. So the team's full of confidence. They head on to Nashville on a 4-game win streak. And I'll be honest, the confidence was building for me as well. It was all looking good heading towards the 4 nations. Linus Ullmark was on the verge of returning as well, so everything was happy in the Sens camp. And yeah, a convincing 5-2 victory with Anton Forsberg taking the net in place of Levi Merilainen just before they headed off on the Florida trip. Again, points were shared around the team, really good performances. There was absolutely... my confidence was personally extremely high at that point. You know, they had played a lot of teams at that point, sort of in and around the playoff spots at this point as well, exactly where you want to be. But I think, you know, looking back on posts that I've made on my Ottawa Senators European fan page on Facebook as well, looking back, which has been really handy for this video to go back and just do summary notes. I don't think I was expecting an awful lot for the Florida trip, but I was expecting more than we got, if that makes sense. So it did see Linus Ullmark return for the first game. He came in against Tampa and did really well with a 0.919 goals against average. You know, it was a tight game. It was a tight game, and to be fair, the Sens, you know, you're playing against a team here. It was going to be good to look at them against a team like Tampa, who were absolutely surging at that point. They were doing so well, and also Tampa have got such a playoff history, and they're built for playoffs. They're an absolute juggernaut. They were going to come good this season. They've had a big overhaul, obviously with Stamkos leaving. But you know, on that Florida trip, unfortunately, we would lose 3 games straight, and that would coincide with an absolute nosedive in confidence from me personally, looking at it. So we hit Russian walls whilst we were there, because obviously we had Vasilevsky in goal for Tampa, and you got Bobrovsky in goal for Florida, the 2 Russian walls. And yeah, they did the job. They absolutely shut the Sens out. You know, they made saves they shouldn't have. You know, just looking at the results, I mean, Tampa, the first game against Tampa was a very close game. Obviously, we lost 4-3 and we lost 5-1 the second game to Tampa and 5-1 to Florida as well. So it was a pretty bad trip to Florida, but it was always the possibility of that happening in our final game pretty much before the Four Nations. So there was always a chance of that happening. Both teams had a fantastic February, so yeah, there was never any doubt that they were going to keep on rolling, and it just shows the difference. You've got to get to that level in the playoffs. You've got to be that to get into the playoffs. You've got to be that level, and Tampa just controlled the game, and Florida especially. They just looked like they could score with ease in the game against Florida. Particularly, it was really demoralised after that Florida game, because I was expecting at least us to get a win somewhere, or at least a point somewhere along the way. But you know, that's just the way it is. You know, you can't always get what you want, especially with the Sens. But you know, we're in and around the race still. So, but anyway, Four Nations happens, and we've already touched on Four Nations. What a tournament that was! And then Four Nations happens, and we come back. We come back to the Montreal Canadiens at home. There's a lot of talk because Brady, Shane, and Josh are all training. I believe at that time Shane Pinto was in a non-contact jersey, and they were both slated to play, all three of them. Anyway, that went out the window because neither of them played, and we ended up losing 5-2 to the Montreal Canadiens. The Montreal Canadiens, who we needed to beat. That was a must-win game. You know, they've been surging. They're full of confidence. They came into the CTC and they took it over. You know, it's so loud in there for the opposition fans, and it was, you know, being from a soccer background over here, that just doesn't usually happen at football grounds over here. So that's one thing I'm not entirely used to watching in hockey. Never have from watching it for 20 years. Home support is always usually so on it and so vocal. And that's not a knock against the home fans at the CTC. It's just the fact that when you get a team in like that, that's got like a cult-like following in the Canadiens and even the Maple Leafs, I hate to say it, they just dominate the building and they're so loud. But yeah, couldn't be helped anyway. Montreal rocked up and yeah, they absolutely spanked us, let's be honest. We didn't look very good, didn't turn up. It was actually, again, very similar to the Florida games. It looked like they could score with ease. Every time they seemed to break the puck up and break forward, they would end up getting another goal. So it was pretty demoralising, to be honest, to watch, as I'm sure that everyone will agree. Yeah, and then obviously we move on to the last game in the stretch, and that was against Winnipeg. Again, looking back on the fan page that I've created on Facebook, I was never expecting to get anything from Winnipeg. They look the business this season. And if the Sens don't qualify for the playoffs, I've said it, if they don't, I always pick another Canadian team just to watch and become a sort of armchair fan for them but they will be the team that I will want to do well if they qualify. If the Sens don't qualify for the playoffs. But yeah, I just love what they've done there. They've been really patient. They've kept their stars. They've committed to them long term, given them good contracts, given them good pay as well. They put their money where their mouth is. But you know, like with anything, you know, they're going for it now. I think if they can update at the trade deadline, so as I'm recording this, the trade deadline is the following day. It's going to be really interesting to see who they can add into the mix. So yeah, but I'm really looking out for them. So yeah, 7 games during the month of February for the Sens. I thought this would be an ideal one to start off with, just to go through as a quick review. Yeah, 2 wins. Not great for a team that is hoping to be in and around the playoff spots, failing that in a wildcard position, which as we speak now, we are back in a wildcard position. But yeah, I'm recording this on the 6th of March, just after the win against the Blackhawks, but we'll touch on that for the March review video. So a couple of things, obviously, just to finish off this part of the video, is that, you know, there were some things that happened during that time. Obviously, Timmy started his point streak. He ended up getting, I think, 10 points throughout the whole of February, which is pretty good. Allmark came back and showed some absolutely stellar performances with some really key saves, and also some great goals against averages, .919 against Tampa and a .915 against the Florida Panthers. So he's come back and, you know, he's letting a few soft goals that you would probably want back, but by and large, I mean, some of the games he's faced up to 40 shots, and, you know, for a team that's trying to qualify for the playoffs, sometimes, I know we've had injuries and they're coming back still, you know, for things like that, you just want to try and get you know, just try and get some decent goaltending, and that's what we haven't had in previous seasons. But also, you know, we've had great point production from Tim Stutzler with 10 points, as I said. Jake Sanderson has 7 points, and Drake Batherson had 6, Brady had 5, and then we've got a lot of players such as Graham Pinto, and even David Perron has started to show some productivity during the month of February. So yeah, it's all pretty promising. So just a quick attachment to this video. Let's have a quick look at the month of February in 2025 for the National Hockey League, just coming out of the Four Nations and going into it. So the Rangers played 9 games, winning 5. The surging Tampa Bay Lightning continued their climb up the league, absolutely pounding teams when they played. Like, look at this, 7 wins, overtime loss, and a .938 percentage for the month is absolutely frightening. So this is what I mean, playoff teams that you're playing against, you know, you're really hoping to get results against them, but you know, when you're still building and you haven't really qualified for the playoffs for a long time, it's a totally different ball game. These guys, you know, was hoping to obviously get a result against them, at least pick some points up, but yeah, it just never happened, did it? They never looked like dropping anything to us. So yeah, so looking at the percentages, we have the Lightning at the top there, but more worrying, we've got things like the Red Wings picking up points. We've also looked further down, we've got teams such as the Rangers starting to pick up results, the Canadians. These are all teams that are around us, and we really, really needed to be picking up more results than we got. If we had picked up 4 more points during February, I think we probably would be in and around up here, I would say, with the Sabres and the Capitals in the 0.6 percentage. But then, you know, we're not even 500 hockey in the month of February, but the Canadians are. If we keep going down, the Senators were 0.286, which is just not good enough. Absolutely crazy. But yeah, I mean, you know, we can only build from that. So like I said, we've touched on a few points that teams have gotten, players have gotten through the month of February, and you know what, March hasn't started off that badly. We're now back on a 2-game win streak, and looking forward to the next month in particular as we head towards the playoff season, which we hope the Sens will be involved in. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this quick summary of February for the Senators. Please feel free to comment below. Also, like I said, I have got a fan page going for European fans of the Ottawa Senators, but feel free to join if you're from Canada or America as well. Just while I've posted content and stuff, and it's been great sort of finding an outlet to support the Sens from the UK. Yeah, it's been really, really good to be able to do that. So yeah, I'll put a link to the page in the description below. And I will see you all again for another video down the line, which I believe is going to be a recent trip to a Guildford Flames game in the Elite League here in the UK. So guys, please feel free to comment, rate and subscribe, and I'll see you all again soon. Go Sens, go.